Welcome to
Call her Shadow Daddy.
a place where we chat about our
Usually.
spicy reads. I'm Nick.
And I'm Mo. And today we're talking about Deep End by Ali Hazlewood.
All right, per Ali Hazlewood, back of the book. This book is a competitive diver and an ace swimmer jump into forbidden waters in this steamy college romance.
Ooh, steamy. Okay,
Steamy.
Nick, how would... That's the byline, but how would you
Right.
describe what happens in Deep End in your own words?
I would say it's about this annoying, in my opinion, girl named Scarlett, who is a diver, and she has this friend, Penelope, who has this hot boyfriend, Lucas, that he's like an Olympian. Everyone knows him, of course.
Yeah.
But, you know, she's never really noticed him because she's not like other girls, of course. And, but then Penelope and Lucas break up because Penelope doesn't want to do the BDSM shit that Lucas wants to do. And she's like, I heard that you like that, Scarlett. And so then she's like, all right. And then they start hooking up. And
Scarlett and Lucas.
Yeah, Scarlett and Lucas. And there's a lot of stuff that happens in there. And they end up together. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler. Yes, there are going to be spoilers
Yeah, sorry.
In this
My bad.
book podcast. So while it's not required that you have read Deep End, it is recommended.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And, you know, I know we call this podcast, Call Her Shadow Daddy. And I don't know if Lucas is really a shadow daddy, but let's start with your thoughts on Lucas.
Yeah. So, I don't know. He's a daddy.
He is totally a daddy.
And
he's really tall, isn't he? Is he blonde? Because I don't believe men should be blonde. That's just one thing I gotta say.
We should circle back to that. But he's a daddy, but I don't think he's much of a shadow daddy. Yeah. I feel like his one flaw was like that one time that he kind of ghosted her randomly.
Yeah, that was annoying. I forgot about that. When he was like, I need to control myself.
And I don't feel like... I almost feel like he was too perfect.
Yeah, he was.
Like, there's a reason there's shadow daddies. We want a little edge. Yeah. We want a little,
Yes,
we not need a little perfect. Something. We need a little something. Yeah. And so, yeah, he had that daddy. I think maybe the element of the shadow in this otherwise, pretty... buttoned up world was that he was into the BDSM.
Yeah, that's where we get the shadow for sure. Mm-hmm.
And Nick, we've talked previously, but would love for you to expand more on like how you saw BDSM fitting into this book and how you would compare it to maybe some a 50 Shades or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
good point.
Yeah,
Mo. I mean, I feel like that was the biggest misleading thing about this whole book. Is the BDSM thing. Most of the time, it's just him being like, calling her weird stuff or whatever. Well, actually, she has that whole thing about like, don't degrade me, but then like she does get degraded, which like, you know what? Love that for you. Love if you love BDSM. But my guess is that if you were really into BDSM and you read this book, you'd be like, where is it? You're like, okay, she got choked. Cool. Like, that's pretty run of the mill.
I feel like she was trying to, like, maybe flex some BDSM, I don't know if prowess is the right word, but that whole, like, list that she has the characters
which also, they never
Yeah.
That really
it's like,
me.
They're like, oh, they're just like, all our things on our list match, like, this
and then
is
they
be
never
great.
talk about it.
Yeah.
I know. Yes.
Yes.
That was a big thing that bothered me about this.
Yeah.
They made that list and it never came back. And going back to what you were saying about Lucas being, like, too perfect, the other thing that bothered me about him was I felt like he had no depth. Like, he was just there to be, the comfort for Scarlett. Because... I was like, do you have any feelings? Like, he has trauma, which they briefly touched on.
Yeah, I was going to say, there was the trauma of...
His mom died.
And then, what happened to Scarlett?
Oh, Scarlett. Okay, Scarlett... All right, well, let's get into Scarlett. Okay, so that's Lucas. Scarlett, main character, okay? The whole first half of the book, they're, like, edging you on, like, why does she have this mental block with her inward dive, okay?
Yes, the inward
dive. Divers, chime in. Is that a good dive? I don't know.
I probably should have looked it up. We are not divers.
But, so, anyways, we wait until, like, halfway through, and then we find out that she did an inward dive. And
she
on
got
the
injured.
same day, she got injured because she messed up her dive because the other boyfriend she had before, like, broke up with her that day.
Wasn't it her birthday, too, or something?
Yeah, it was, like, 10 things wrong. But then what pissed me off about that was she just, like, finally realized that correlation between the two things of her getting injured and the boyfriend breaking up with her at the same time it's revealed to us. And I was like, are you stupid?
In her, like, 8th session of therapy.
At least. I was like, girl, like, this is not rocket science. Yeah. And she's what, like a scientist anyways.
Yeah.
So why? Yes. So that bugged me about Scarlett.
Yeah.
I also didn't like, I feel like she had the typical, like, and this is, I feel like Ali Hazlewood does this with her main characters, which we'll get into as well.
Please.
But it's always like the girl that is too focused on, you know, her sport, her studies, or whatever. Not really noticing the men around her that are all fawning over her.
Yes.
They're all obsessed with her. They're all asking her on dates and she doesn't realize it.
Yeah.
She's classic that. And it's like, girl, if you're a competitive diver, I'm sure you're jacked to oblivion and you're probably gorged. Yeah. So, like, stop acting like you're this invisible little whatever you are. So that bothered me about Scarlett.
I agree.
And I felt, maybe this is on Ali. Ali, I love you, don't sue me. But I feel like a lot of the commentary of, like, because I think it's told in first person, right?
I think so.
Well, a lot of the commentary in, like, Scarlett's head is, like, very verbose, lots of metaphors, like, lots of very interesting language choices. Yeah. And then her character's supposed to be like, yeah, I fail English class. I was like...
the math isn't mathing.
Correct.
The math is not mathing.
What did you I've talked about her enough. I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, it's so funny because it's been a second since I've read this, and when you first said Scarlett, I was thinking her name was Penelope because Penelope, who is the friend, comes up so much in this, you almost think she's the protagonist. Yes. And that was an interesting choice. And, you know, I do love a, you know, dynamic and somewhat complicated friendship, which her and Scarlett kind of have. But it did seem a bit strange how much Penelope was playing, like... Yes. And how much she was still, like, kind of into Lucas. I guess I was creating some conflict.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
And Penelope, because Penelope was a lot more likable than Scarlett. Yeah. Like, she knew who she was. She seemed like she had confidence. And, you know, I get tired of the, I don't know how beautiful I am trope. Yeah. And I feel like Penelope was like, no, I'm a baddie. Yeah. I'm dating Lucas, who's an Olympian baddie. We are baddies together. And I was like, yes, queen, I love that for you. Yeah. And Scarlett didn't have that. There also was that weird aside at the end. I'm just now remembering.
Where Penelope. She, like, flies.
Yeah, but before that, like, some other people, don't they, like, tell Scarlett that, like, Penelope's evil or something?
Oh, They do something
weird.
Yeah, there was some like locker room drama, which kind of segues into our like college campus setting here. Yes. Curious your thoughts. I thought it was fun being back on a college campus, kind of having that swimmer diver rivalry. You got a nice like spicy locker room scene. Oh yeah, that one was
fun. I did like that. I liked that. I thought that choosing Stanford was a choice. Yes. Mostly because there was that horrible sexual assault case by a Stanford swimmer not that long ago. So I was like, interesting choice, but okay. We could, you know, we don't have to remember everything by the worst thing that ever happened there. True. So I'd much rather remember it by this. Yep. However, I have to say, Miss Hazlewood needs to do some research because there was a part in which she said something about buying something at Aldi. There is no Aldi in the Bay Area. I don't even think in the state of California.
Shoot. And I feel like an editor should have caught that, too, or something.
Also, this is clearly part of the Ali Hazlewood cinematic universe.
Yes, please tell me, for our listeners, what is the Ali Hazlewood cinematic universe?
I'm gonna have to trademark this, so nobody take this from me.
So this is an original...
This is an original Nick thought, okay? This is trademarked by Nick in the year of 2025, okay? the Ali Hazlewood Cinematic Universe, AHCU, if you will. I know that we actually are getting a real movie coming up, but that's not this book. But anyways, as I'm reading this, I have previously read, as probably many of you have, the classic The Love Hypothesis, okay? Mm-hmm. Everybody knows that one. If you're a Star Wars girly, shout out to my fellow Star Wars girlies who know it's a Reylo fanfic. If you don't know that, just pretend I didn't say anything because you don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But that book, they're also at Stanford, okay? But the main character in that one, Olive, is like a scientist. And Olive is the advisor to Lucas and Scarlet. Shit. And Dr. Carlson is the one that she's with in The Love Hypothesis. And so when I saw that, I felt like when you go to a Marvel movie and like you don't realize, and then all of a sudden, you know, like the Hulk shows up or whatever, and you're like, okay, crossover of the century. So AHCU.
That's pretty fun.
I kind of wanted to continue doing that. I kind of want a full Stanford, you know, universe of Ali Hazlewood. And you know what? Maybe in the AHCU, Aldi exists in the Bay Area.
That's
so,
true.
Okay, she can have
you
it
take it. Okay. But
anyways,
we'd love any comments on other connections you've seen across Hazlewood books and in this cinematic universe, if you will. I did just finish Bride by Ali Hazlewood, and I didn't notice any.
It wasn't at Stanford?
It wasn't at Stanford. No, it was like supposed to be kind of modern day, like the vampire is a hacker. But anyway.
Oh.
I did not get any crossover, but I also haven't read as much. Mm-hmm. So there's probably something in there that I just didn't snag. So yeah. Okay. It's an interesting. It's fun. It's fun.
It's a fun little, and you know what? Maybe it's just a little Easter egg for the dedicated Hazlewood girlies. Yeah. I don't know if she has a fan base name like the Hazelnuts or something. I don't know. Maybe contact me, Ali, if you want some ideas for your fan name.
Maybe not the Hazelnuts.
I think the Hazelnuts is good.
It's not bad. Personally.
Not bad. Anywho. So, so those are our main characters, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's everyone.
That's everyone. Let's think about the relationships, the nature of the relationships between these characters and what we thought about it.
Yeah, I spoke a little bit about the friendship between Scarlet and Penelope. The main other relationship, well, I guess there's two. There's, like, Lucas and Penelope, because that does keep coming in. Like, she kind of keeps coming back to him. Yep. Though it never creates a huge conflict. It's more just a little awkward, I feel. Well, there's the whole dynamic of them not telling anyone. And people thinking that Lucas and Penelope were still dating, which I really didn't like.
I didn't think we needed
high
that.
School.
Yeah, and, like, do people really care that much? I'm trying to think in college, like, I guess maybe I wasn't a student athlete, obviously. Yeah. And so maybe it's a little more, you know, incestuous in that way. Yeah. But I can't imagine caring that much about, like, a star couple. It's not like they're Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake and it's like 2000. Like, they're not that important.
Exactly. And you do get the sense that people are kind of dating around on the team. So, I thought that was an interesting choice and kind of was just frustrating as a reader. Yeah. But then, the main relationship between Scarlet and Lucas, I think overall it's very sweet. It's like she, you know, is in a dark place and really struggling, and he, like, shows up time and time again. Like, I remember him getting her groceries, or, like, they'd sneak away from a party. And so I enjoyed that. Like, I think it's always fun to read, you know, that, again, more of a daddy than a shadow daddy.
Yes, but definitely a daddy.
And then, it was just kind of interesting to see them exploring BDSM together, because it did kind of feel like they were coming from different spots to that. And, that was interesting to see how they kind of approached that. What are your thoughts on their relationship?
No, I agree. I think overall it was a very sweet relationship and they should be together, and that's great. Love that for them. I also was annoyed with, like, I felt like the conflict was, like, made up, right? Yeah. It was weird that Penelope and Lucas didn't tell people they broke up. And it also was annoying how Scarlett kept trying to deny the fact that she had feelings for Lucas when the whole time he's giving her reassurance that he likes her or loves her, and she's like, and I'm like, is that realistic?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so, because it's also it kind of felt like she liked him but was like afraid to like him or something,
right? Because of her trauma,
and it was the classic like, the classic like, he's just in it for like the sex,
right? Which he demonstrates like, time and again.
Clearly
is
not. And so it's like, I that trope frustrates me because it's like, okay, it's clear, and maybe that's the point. It's supposed to be like frustrated, but it's like it's clear to us as the readers that like she's into her,
right?
And so it's kind of like,
you're like, come on, girl, like get with the program.
Get with it.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, it is tiring. It's tiring to be like over and over.
Yeah,
girl, like and I also have thoughts about her having this like trauma with men and how like there's this one scene where I think she's in like a hot tub or ice bath or something.
Yeah.
And there's some other guys that
the other guys come. Yeah.
And then she like kind of like freaks out.
Yeah.
And then Lucas comes and like rescues her. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Yeah. Something about it bothered me a little bit because I felt like, and it made me feel a little bit like they made this connection of, she has trauma, that's why she likes to do this weird shit in the bedroom. And I don't think that's really fair to people who like to do that. Yeah. So, and maybe that's me reading into it too much. Maybe that's not a connection that's being made. But I felt like we didn't need to have that tied in.
Yeah. It did feel like there was an element of that. I felt like, at least, because there was a lot of her kind of like to herself defending why she does this. Right. And I took it more of her saying to herself, like, my brain's always like going a million miles a minute, and this is the time where someone else is telling me what to do, and it kind of gets my brain out of that funk.
Makes sense.
So that's kind of how I felt like she was, but it did seem multifaceted, and yeah, it's an interesting just topic to you know, as an author, like it does feel like Ali was trying to like, okay, give some more context to like how each of these characters was approaching this and got into it, if you will, which was interesting. Right.
And maybe it was showing like the building of trust between her and Lucas to be able to participate in these BDSM nasty times. Woo! Speaking of nasty times.
Speaking of
I'd love to give you all one of my favorite words or favorite things that she said.
Yeah, a Nic dramatic reading, if you will. Dramatic reading by Nic.
Yes, and I love to do a dramatic reading. So I'm just going to do a quick paragraph. Okay. And I believe this is one of the first times that Lucas and Scarlett are fucking, if you will. By the way, this is an explicit podcast.
Getting it on.
Well, I'm going to read some explicit words.
Adults only, please.
Okay, so he's performing fellatio upon Scarlett, okay? And he says, more, he asks after I float down. Like the past 10 minutes have not just been a glorious assortment of mowers. Like I don't twitch every time his breath puffs against my flesh. I'm hot, heavy, made of sparks. I watch him watch my clenching hole on display for him. Clenching hole, Mo.
It's descriptive.
Clenching hole? I wanted bleach on my asshole and eyes when I read that, okay? Clenching hole is crazy.
It's an interesting, like, line to straddle of you want to be descriptive and have, you know, but we don't necessarily need the clenching
hole is crazy.
That, so that kind of leads me into our spice scale.
Spice scale.
Which we're doing something pepper adjacent. Do you want to explain?
Yeah. So if any of you have ever watched like Hot Ones or are into spicy foods, you know there's the Scoville scale, which is like basically kind of made up. Like
well,
the units.
Isn't everything made up in a sense?
Okay. Let's get a little meta there.
Podcast.
That's freaking okay. Settle down, Mo. This ain't a philosophy discussion. Okay. The Scoville scale is heat units, okay?
For peppers. Specifically.
So, like, a bell pepper is a 0 because there's no spice. Jalapeno is like 2,500.
Okay.
And the highest, a Carolina Reaper, is 1.4 million Scoville units. Okay.
So bell pepper is no spice.
Right.
Carolina's
Reaper.
most, and then what's like our middle ground spice?
A habanero is 100,000. So, you know, we can think about this. We can even look at a Scoville scale and guess our units. Okay?
Yeah.
So, I think I would give this one, you know, I'm going to have to give it at least like a habanero because even though, you know, they could have had more BDSM, things like clenching hole, you're not going to see it everywhere. Okay? You're not going to get that in a run-of-the-mill romance book. All right? And also, you know, there was a nipple clamps they talked about for a minute. Also, well, but I mean, and she was crying all the time, and he was always like, licking up her tears.
That was that was interesting.
That was weird. So that one I have to. I mean, your eyes water when you have something spicy.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to give it like a habanero, which is what, like 100,000 Scovilles.
Okay. And I think the element too, when I think about spice, there's like the things you touched on, but then also like, how often are they getting it on?
They be fucking.
Which, yeah. It wasn't like a, slow burn till 80% and then they finally do it. It did take a little bit, which I appreciated.
But not so long then, where I'm like, let's get to it.
And then once it was happening, it was happening. So I think I'm going to have to agree with the habanero. Yeah, I feel like, and I do feel like the nature of adding in the BDSM adds that little extra kick, to the Scoville scale, if you will. And yeah, like I remember I was reading it on an airplane and being like, "Oh, this is like spicy. Like, what if the like flight attendant comes over?
What if the like child
like
sees
this? Yeah." So like, I feel like that's kind of a good way to think about it. Like, am I slightly uncomfortable? Like, if someone was reading over my shoulder on the plane.
Or like, you know, like when you're on a plane and you're watching something and they're fucking. Right?
Oh,
and
dude.
You're like, I'm always on the aisle seat too, so I know people are looking.
It's so uncomfortable because
and I'm like, well, I want to watch my program.
Exactly. And I'm not going to like, I feel like it's weirder if you like forward it.
Yes, because then it's like,
but
I know
worst is if the pilot comes on and it pauses. I had that happen.
That happened to you?
Pause like right in the middle of like a sexy ass scene. And I'm just like, well, everyone knows.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
Enjoy the show.
Everyone knows what
Maybe
I'm
they
watching.
shouldn't put it on them little, you know, screens. Yeah. I know sometimes it'll say like, be careful.
It's like,
be mindful. But I'm also like, if your kids are on a plane, like that's on you. They ain't my kids.
They like
make sure they got their own tablet.
They're watching their own
watching
programming, watching something.
Exactly.
But
anywho,
okay. So
habanero.
And okay, how do you feel like that compares to other Ali Hazlewood cinematic universe, if you will? Books.
Yeah.
Like for Bride, which I just read, that was definitely spicy, and I don't want to give any spoilers away, but there's something that the werewolves do in when they're having sex that is interesting.
I'm going to be reading this.
And anyway, so that adds to the spice. So I feel like this was on a similar spice level. So I'm wondering if the other
I'm trying to remember, like Love Hypothesis, I feel like there was like a lab, like not locker room, but like a lab little sex moment. Yeah. But I don't Maybe Ali just keeps it in the habanero zone.
Yeah, I think she does.
I'm curious, listeners. What do you think?
What do you
think? Would you agree with the habanero rating? Do you think that Love Hypothesis and Bride or any other AHCU trademark Nic 2025 is in the same type of spice range? let us know your thoughts. We want to know.
We want to know. And just while we're on Ali Hazlewood, I don't know if you know, but she is like a brain scientist. She has her PhD in neuroscience.
Okay, well that makes sense because when she starts talking about the I'm like, eyes
you
glazed
can
over.
You can tell she knows their shit.
You know what? That actually answers a question I had, which was like, can anyone chime in and tell me if this is legit?
If this is, because
I'm just like taking her word for it.
PhD in neuroscience, which I'm just like
multifaceted queen.
Yeah, like the fact that she's this best-selling author and has her PhD in neuroscience.
We need to get her on the pod. Ali,
if you're listening, we'd love to have you.
We'd love to have you on Call Her Shadow Daddy. We would love to have you here.
And yeah, I'm trying to think.
Any other final thoughts you have on Deep End?
On Deep End, yeah. Thank you. Bringing it back. Let's see. You know, I felt like Deep End was an interesting title choice. Like, okay, one of my favorite things to do is like to always find when they name the title in the book.
Like when you're at a movie and you're like,
and they say and did she do that? Like, because I'm also feeling like Deep End, like it's fitting, it's the pool, they're getting into it, but I just felt nothing really went off the deep end. I mean, besides her diving, I guess.
Besides the inward dive.
Like,
no, I like what you're saying.
I'm
because
just,
I feel
it's
like
just,
in this case, Deep End is like more literal versus
like,
right?
Yeah.
Like it's like
she's
going
diving
into the deep end.
She's
But I guess maybe she was off the deep end, and he brought her to shore, if you will.
Yeah.
Because once she starts getting freaky with him, she starts figuring out her shit, and she gets her little thing back or whatever. She starts doing her dives again.
Yeah. That's true. True. Okay.
But it isn't like I think there. What alternate title would you give it instead?
That's a good. You know, I'm not an author, so do you have any ideas?
Salty Tears.
Salty Tears.
Licked by Lucas.
How about Clenching Hole?
Clenching Hole! No, anything but Clenching Hole. I wish to never see that phrase again.
Yeah.
So,
do you have any final thoughts on Deep End?
You know, I think if you like a spicy book, you'll probably enjoy this. We do have a friend that was telling us that she tried to listen to this book on like Audible, and it was uncomfy for her to listen to someone read it.
Yeah.
So
fair.
You know, might be something that you want to just hunker down with your Kindle, with your whatever, with your e-reader, not sponsored, device to read or whatever you want to do. But overall, I thought it was entertaining. I will read another Ali Hazlewood because I think she makes stuff that's entertaining. Even if the characters are kind of annoying sometimes, I'm still going to fall for it every time. So
Agreed.
I'd definitely be reading it.
Yeah. Well, Nick, it was a pleasure and can't wait for the next book discussion.
Can't wait. Thanks, Mo.
Over and out, y'all.